Hey everybody, this is Lorelia. So, in my previous video, I had said that, and one thing that I'm going to do in 2017 is talk more about a particular topic. And the topic is going to be student loans. And I decided to do this because my current class now, I have a lot of questions from people who have questions about student loans. And I always tell people student loans are a class in itself because a lot of the stuff that I teach, a lot of it don't really apply to student loans unless they're private. Federal, those loans dance to a beat of a different drum. And so I'm noticing that it's something that people want more of. They need clarity on because they're hurting people. And that's what I'm noticing in this class. I've already got people who are already saying, I'm ready when you're signing up. I mean, when you're having it, because I need it right now. People are already saying it. So a recent question I have at a private Facebook group of mine was about student loans. I got a student loan. I was able to get it discharged due to a medical disability. And how does that affect my credit? That was the question. So I'm going to give the answer by video because I gave the answer in a comment. And a lot of times it's abbreviated because, like I said, I'm not going to write 1,500 words on a particular topic. Like I told the person who had asked me the question, your credit is the least of what you need to be worried about. And I know you may be wondering, well, how is that? She was successful with doing it. Because this is the new thing now. Since 2009, when Obama signed that Loan Forgiveness Act or whatever, there have been new rules that have been put in place to help people with their student loans. Yes, you can leverage them to give you some relief. And people have been taking action, and that's great. Now, what will happen with this new administration, I don't know. Will they reverse all that? All I can say is continue following the legislation that is currently going on and ride that wave as long as you have. But going back to that medical discharge. Now, what is that? That's basically, I have a student loan, and I have been able to prove through doctors or what have you that I am unable financially to pay on this loan, and so can it be discharged? Bye-bye, good, see you later. She was successful with doing that, and I know you may be wondering, well, woohoo, yes, she did it. And then the reason why I told her the last thing you need to be worrying about is your credit is because I tell people all the time, I go straight for the jugular. I'm not going to jazz it up because a lot of people are telling people information that's either not true or they're not knowledgeable about. Your student loan, if you currently owe a student loan, it's not going nowhere. I'm going to share with you in this story why. It's still there, but it's disguised as something else. The reason why I say that is because not that I got, insight into the federal government, but just by studying these things, if you owe the government, you're going to pay. Now, like I tell people, unless you're going to go live under a rock in a cave, never going to file taxes again, never going to have a bank account again, never going to get any, any type of reportable income. Everything you're going to do is be under the table. If that's the case, then that's the only way that the government ain't going to get their money because you have nothing reporting. So going back to the lady who was able to, I shouldn't have said lady. The person who was able to get that medical discharge, student loan, bye-bye. And I said, your credit score is the last thing you need to be worrying about because there's a 3-year period that the government looks at. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The government is going to basically monitor you for 3 years. And they're going to make sure that you are medically unable to work, like you say. Now, you may be wondering, well, really, how they going to trace it? They're going to be looking at tax returns. They're going to look at any W-2s, 1099s that are sent to you. There's ways, my friend. Bank statements or what have you. Anything to trace. You got a 3-year period. But this is when it gets good. After those 3 years, they call that baby home. And I know you may be wondering, well, Lorraine, what do you mean they call it home? You gonna get taxed. A 1099 gonna be sent to you in the mail for canceled debt, but it will be reported as income. So what does that mean? I got $95,000. I don't know the person's amount, but let's just use numbers. I got $95,000 of student loan debt that got discharged because I have medically been able to prove that I cannot work. That $95,000 gonna come home. So you gonna get a 1099 in the mail after 3 years for canceled debt, which is reported as income for that $95,000. Now, yes, I'm a former tax person, but I ain't calculating nothing for nobody. So this is the part where I say, go speak to your tax advisor. So if you currently have a student loan and you're looking to get it medically discharged, have your tax advisor to do a projection. Because I know when I was, doing taxes and worked at CPA offices, we did projections. So have him or her to do a projection on how much taxes you're going to owe on X amount of student loan, on the student loan amount that you owe. So remember when I said earlier in this video is that you're going to pay, but it's going to be disguised as something different. So basically it goes from one agency to another agency. It went from the U.S. Department of Education, you owing them, to now it is now with the IRS. And now you're going to pay them. No such thing as free lunch. No such thing as free lunch. If there is a way for you to get from under student loans without there being small repercussion, even the programs they have for working in a disenfranchised neighborhood or whatever, the rules are very strict. They're very clear and strict, and most people, can't even qualify. But going back to the medically, discharged or whatever debt, that's it. So it done went from, like I said, from one agency to the other agency, but basically it's still a federal loan. This only applies to federal student loans, not private. Federal student loans. There's no such thing as free lunch. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's billions. And this is not something that I'm just saying. Billions is owed in student loan debt. If it was that easy, everybody will be submitting that information by fax, email, or by mail to get rid of a student loan. And so, pretty much what I'm saying is this. There are people who truly do qualify. Things may have happened to them where they are medically incapable. And so those people, clearly, they know they can never work again. Maybe they got into a car accident. They're quadriplegic. They're very limited to what they used to do. Or whatever the case may be, it can even be, a medically, anything. And like I said, I'm not one to judge. I don't want a maybe the medical person to approve if you are able to pay your loan, but this is it. So you worried about credit. You better worry about how you going for 3 years, stay low key, and in 3 years pay that debt that eventually got discharged. And the person said, clearly the comment was, well, if I didn't have the money to pay in student loan, I definitely ain't gonna have the money to pay the IRS. Something to consider. That's just how the rules go. I don't make them. I'm just a messenger. One thing I know with these student loans, it's no free lunch. Now, I don't know what legislation may come in the future, but right now, you got to pay the piper. That's why I say there are programs out there that can lighten the blow. I have a gentleman who's in my class now, and he was able to get into one of the income programs and for whole year be zero. and he thought that he was not going forward, nothing was available to him. And I told him that's not the case. They do have to look at your income or what have you. So if your income, even though you have an income now, which is what he doesn't have that much, they can lower the payment. So there's programs out there. And like I said, it all is all based on your income discretion, and it's discretionary income. So it's not I make, $60,000. It's discretionary income, meaning that they're looking at what you do bring home minus all your expenses. And so you can lighten the blow. And there's a certain period, depending on what program you're in, because after those 10 years or what have you, it can be a canceled debt, can be sent to you. So, that's really the big loophole. That's why a lot of people, you may have heard them, and these are people who understand how that loan forgiveness program worked in 2009 that Obama signed, was like, well, it ain't really forgiveness because because you're going to get taxed. I mean, pretty much. I mean, like I said, it's disguised as something else. It's just not what people think. Like, oh, I got a student loan, I done went to college, and oh, well, I can't pay for it. It's just not like that. So things to consider if you are getting a student loan, you decide to go down that rabbit hole to get a student loan discharged due to medical reasons. My thing is this: you must want to sit low for the rest of your life, and that's another thing. Even after the 3 years, they can still reinstate that loan. So don't think like, oh, I'm just gonna sit low for 3 years. Oh, they watching. No, they watching. Big Brother's watching. They can reinstate the loan. So it's a really miserable life to me personally to live. Like I always tell people, that ain't no lifestyle for me. That's why you've heard me talk about CPN numbers or what have you, because I don't want to live no ducking and dodging life. Like, oh, I gotta look behind my shoulders and all this other stuff and be scared to file my taxes, because that ain't no life for me. I like freedom. I don't want to be shackled in nobody's jail. And I understand you can still be free and not really be free, but that's a whole nother video to talk about. And I kind of talked about that before, because there are people who are free, they walking, ain't nobody got them in the jail, but they're in a jail mentally. I see that every day with credit. So I get that. But that's really all I have to say about student loans and them being medically discharged. Know the rules. No such thing as free lunch. Know the rules. Like I said, they're disguised as something different. So once again, this is Lorelia. Stay in touch. Like I said, going to be launching some things about student loans in 2017. You've heard it here first. Like I said, I am looking forward to sharing more about it. So this is Lorelia. If you want to learn more, like I said, I have a class that that I'm going to be doing throughout the year. You can learn more. This particular class has to do with your personal credit, not for the student loans, but you can learn more at www.yourmoneymentor.com/credit2017. All right, talk to you next video. Bye-bye.